What if everything you believe about God is merely a comforting illusion? When we look up at the stars, are we really seeing evidence of a divine creator? Or are we just making sense of the universe the best way we know how? Today, we will explore the question that has fascinated humanity for centuries. Is God real? Or is God simply a concept we created to navigate the unknown? Before we get started, let me ask you, how do you see God? Is God a powerful being, a comforting idea, or maybe something else? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know where you stand. To start, what do we mean by God? For many, God is a personal, sentient being, the creator of the universe, omnipotent and omniscient, actively engaging in the world and in human lives. This idea is at the core of major monotheistic religions. In Christianity, God is the loving Father who sent Jesus Christ to save humanity. In Islam, Allah is the all-knowing creator, guiding and protecting believers. In Judaism, God is seen as a covenant partner who has walked with the people of Israel through history. But not everyone sees God in this way. In Hinduism, God is often viewed as Brahman, an abstract, formless essence underlying all of reality. Meanwhile, in Buddhism, the idea of God is not central at all. The focus is on achieving enlightenment and understanding the nature of suffering and existence. Philosophically, interpretations of God often defy traditional definitions. Some philosophers view God as the first cause, the initial spark that started the chain reaction leading to the universe. Others might embrace pantheism, where God is synonymous with the universe itself. In this view, God is not separate from the universe, but is the universe itself, encompassing everything within it. So, what if God is something we haven't fully understood yet? Let's dig deeper, starting with arguments for God's existence. One of the most compelling arguments is the cosmological argument, an ancient idea asserting that everything that exists has a cause. You are here because your parents met. The Earth exists because of the formation of our solar system, and even the universe must have something that started it all. Imagine a line of dominoes. If one domino falls, it knocks over the next one, and so on. This chain reaction continues, but there had to be an initial domino that started it all. In a similar way, if we trace back the origins of the universe, we reach a point where everything began. Advocates of this argument assert that there must be a first cause, something that initiated everything without itself being caused by anything else. Philosophers like Aristotle and later Thomas Aquinas argued that this first cause must exist outside of the natural world. This first cause is often equated with God. Just as the first domino sets everything in motion, God is seen as the ultimate source of all that exists. The Big Bang Theory supports this idea, suggesting that the universe had a beginning, an origin point from which space, time, and matter emerged. If everything that begins has a cause, what caused the universe to begin? Advocates of the cosmological argument posit that something beyond time and space, something eternal like God, initiated this event. Another classic example is the teleological argument, often called the argument from design. This idea suggests that the complexity and order we see in the universe indicate the existence of an intelligent designer. It's based on the observation that everything around us, from the smallest details of a single cell to the vastness of the universe, appears to be intricately arranged, almost as if it were created with a specific purpose in mind. Let's look at the human eye as an example of complexity. The eye works in a fascinating way. The lens helps focus light, while the retina turns that light into signals for the brain. All these parts work together seamlessly, making it hard to believe that such a complex system could happen by chance. Now, consider Earth. It's located in the Goldilocks zone, which means it has just the right conditions for life, not too hot and not too cold. Many people think that these ideal circumstances are unlikely to be random and instead suggest that our planet was designed with a purpose in mind. One of the most famous illustrations of this argument is the watchmaker analogy, popularized by William Paley. Imagine you find a watch on the ground. As you pick it up, you notice its intricate gears, precise movements, and carefully crafted components. The watch is not a random assemblage of parts. Its design and functionality suggest that it has a maker, a watchmaker, who intentionally constructed it to serve specific purpose. Similarly, when we look at the natural world, we see a remarkable level of complexity and order. The universe contains countless intricate systems that work together in harmony. The laws of physics that govern the universe are consistent and reliable, allowing life to flourish. What is particularly striking is the delicate balance of these physical laws. For example, if the strength of gravity or the charge of an electron were even slightly different, the universe would be incapable of supporting life. This careful calibration suggests that the universe was not a product of chance, but was purposefully designed with the necessary conditions for life. Just as a watch cannot exist without a watchmaker, the intricate laws of the universe imply the existence of a designer, a conscious being who crafted the cosmos, often identified as God. Now, let's turn our attention to the ontological argument, which takes a more abstract approach. This idea was originally proposed by theologian Saint Anselm in the 11th century. Anselm defined God as that than which nothing greater can be conceived. In simpler terms, God is the greatest possible being we can imagine. Nothing could surpass him. If we can conceive of this perfect being, then that being must exist not only in our minds, but also in reality. Because if God only existed in our imagination, we could conceive of something even greater, a being that actually exists. Therefore, to truly be the greatest conceivable being, God must exist in reality. But does just imagining something mean it has to be real? Critics, like philosopher Immanuel Kant, say no. Existence isn't a quality like greatness that you can just add to an idea. You can't define something into existence. It's got to actually be proven. But let's not forget the counter-arguments. One of the biggest challenges to the belief in God comes from Darwin's theory of evolution. This theory explains how complex forms of life can develop over time through natural processes, without requiring an intelligent designer. Essentially, evolution works through a process called natural selection. This means that small, random changes in organisms accumulate over millions of years, leading to the diverse and intricate life forms we see today. Another significant scientific explanation that impacts belief in God is the Big Bang Theory. According to this theory, the universe began about 13.8 billion years ago, when all matter was compressed into an extremely small, dense point. This point then exploded outward, leading to the formation of galaxies, stars, and eventually planets. While the Big Bang Theory doesn't definitively prove or disprove the existence of God, some argue that if science can explain the origins of the universe, maybe we don't need God to explain it anymore. It raises an interesting question. If we can eventually explain everything with science, does that mean there's no room for God? Now, let's talk about the problem of evil. If God is loving and all-powerful, many people wonder, why do bad things happen? The existence of an all-good, all-knowing and all-powerful God seems incompatible with the existence of evil. If God is all-powerful, he would have the ability to prevent all forms of evil. If he is all-knowing, he would know when and where evil exists. and if he is morally perfect, he would want to eliminate evil because a good being wouldn't want suffering to exist. However, since we can see that evil and suffering do exist in the world, this leads to a challenging conclusion. If God exists, then either he doesn't have the power to eliminate evil, doesn't know when evil occurs, or doesn't want to stop it. This reasoning ultimately leads to a significant conclusion. If God possesses all these qualities and yet evil exists, then God doesn't exist. Now, let's talk about Occam's razor, a philosophical principle that says the simplest explanation is usually the best one. When discussing God's existence, many people use Occam's razor to suggest that we should prefer natural explanations over the more complex idea of a deity. For instance, when lightning strikes, people in the past might have believed it was a sign of God's anger. However, today, we know that lightning is simply an electrical discharge caused by natural atmospheric conditions. According to Occam's razor, the scientific explanation is simpler and doesn't require us to assume a divine cause, making it the preferred choice for many. So, using this principle, some argue that we should look for natural explanations rather than jumping to the conclusion that a deity is involved in every phenomenon. Many thinkers, including sociologist Emil Durkheim, suggest that the idea of God was created by humans to foster community and social cohesion. Religion unites people, providing them with shared purpose and establishing social order. From this perspective, God could be seen not as a real entity, but as a powerful concept, a tool used throughout history to maintain moral order, regulate behavior, and provide comfort in times of uncertainty. This notion meets important psychological needs, alleviating fear of death and offering hope. Sigmund Freud took this a step further, suggesting that God is a projection of our deep-seated psychological need for security. As children, we rely on our parents for comfort and protection. As adults, we might transfer this dependence to a belief in a divine parent, God, who offers us a sense of safety and care in an unpredictable world. In contrast, Carl Jung, another influential psychologist, viewed God as an archetype deeply embedded in the collective unconscious shared by all humans. Cognitive science suggests that human perception is inherently limited and influenced by cultural and environmental factors. What we interpret as divine or spiritual experiences may, in fact, be the brain's response to complex stimuli or the product of cognitive biases. Research by neuroscientists like Andrew Newberg has demonstrated that mystical experiences can be induced through specific patterns of brain activity, prompting important questions about the objective reality of these experiences. If encounters often labeled as divine can be replicated through neurological processes, it raises significant doubts about whether these experiences genuinely serve as evidence for the existence of God. So what do you think? Is God a real being out there, or a concept we created to navigate the mysteries of life? Maybe the answer is different for everyone, or maybe it's something we'll never fully understand. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Whether you believe, disbelieve, or are just curious, share your experiences in the comments below. If you found this discussion intriguing, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more thought-provoking content. Thank you for watching, and remember, the quest for understanding is just as important as the answers we seek. Until next time.